Hey everyone, this is me, Robert. I'm just following up with the last video that I did about the HTC Thunderbolt that's on Verizon. I just wanted to actually do somewhat of a review of the phone since I've been playing around with it for about a week. I think it's been out for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So now that I've had some time to actually play with the thing, I wanted to actually give you a little bit of feedback if you are actually interested in maybe getting this phone. So here's the phone from Verizon. It's a 4.3-inch screened, diagonally screened phone. It is the first phone on Verizon that actually does the 4G using their LTE technology. So basically what that means is that you're going to get really fast data speeds on this thing. I was doing some speed tests on it, and I was getting about from 10 to 16 megabytes a second, which is really impressive for a phone. And my uploads were about 3 to 6 up, so that's actually even faster than normal landline DSL. So I'm kind of interested to see where Verizon's going to take this and if they're going to try to tap into that market, trying to get people away from landline and onto a cellular market and try to see if they can steal some of that. But then again, Verizon does go ahead and tout that they have a unlimited data, even though they have a 5 gigabyte cap. So we'll see what happens with that. Onto a little bit of the phone, we'll talk about some of the design of it. I have a cover on it, so you can't really see exactly it. But it's actually pretty thin. It was a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be because I was using a friend's phone, and she had an HTC Evo, which is basically the same thing of this phone, but it just felt like really bulky. But she did have I guess a bigger case on it. So on the front you have the screen, and then also down here I think there are capacitive touch buttons, which is the home menu, back, and search buttons. You have the power button on top along with the secondary microphone. You have on the back the 8 megapixel camera with the dual LED flash. On the front you also have a 1.3 megapixel camera on the front, and then on the bottom you have your primary microphone. You have the micro USB to charge, as well as it's supposedly supposed to be an HDMI out, but we won't know that until the multimedia dock comes out. And then also on this side is this huge giant volume rocker. I do have a little bit of a gripe about this. I don't know why it's so big. It doesn't really need to be this big, because the only reason why I gripe about it is because usually when I'm in landscape mode, my fingers just kind of automatically go to hitting the button. So either I'm always readjusting the volume, and in some applications that kind of puts it on pause, I guess you would say. So it kind of actually screws up some, I guess you would say, gameplay or productivity. So I wish it was actually half the size, and if it started down here, it'd actually be most ideal. So then that way I'm not always constantly turning up and down the volume. Also, again, let's talk about a little bit more of these buttons on the front. As you see, they actually are backlit, and it's great. But at the same time, I've noticed, and it's quite frustrating, that they only backlight in the light. So usually you're out in the sun and you don't really need to see where the buttons are at because the sun's doing its job. But then you're in the dark, which I've noticed consistently when I'm in the dark, they never turn on. So since these aren't physical buttons, I don't know what I'm pressing, especially in the dark. So, and when you are in the dark, you do have the light from the screen, but you still can't see this since it's not part of the screen. So just one gripe. I hope they fix it. Maybe it's the ambient sensor or something like that. But hopefully with the next update, which is supposed to happen in Q2, a lot of that will be fixed, and especially that we're seeing the Android 2.3, the Gingerbread that came out, and it's supposed to increase speed quite a bit on phones, because I was reading about the Droid X and Droid 2, and their speed benchmarks were actually quite impressive. So I'm hoping that with that update, it definitely fixes a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about on this. Um, Also, there is a lot of pre-installed software on this thing. It's actually kind of frustrating. We have all these applications and all that good stuff, which is fine, but at the same time, it's a lot of the programs that Verizon and or HTC has put on this phone, and it kind of wastes a lot of space. There is City ID, Verizon Navigator, VCast Media, TuneWiki, Slacker, Rock Band, Rhapsody, Let's Go Golf 2, Footprints, BitBop, Blockbuster, and VCast apps. A lot of the VCast stuff, Verizon branded stuff, it's locked onto this thing, and it's when you go to the Google Android marketplace, there already is a Verizon tab which has all of those things on there. So if you wanted to get it, you just go there. I don't know. It's just a small gripe, but then again, I rather not see those things on there. And then also, it's kind of shady of Verizon to put their Verizon Navigator on this phone. I know that there might get those few users that are new users of Android, and they basically pay for the Verizon Navigator, which is I think like $10 a month or something like that, when Google already has a really robust and very good free Google Maps on here. So, and it's turn-by-turn navigation, all that good stuff. So it's a little shady, but whatever. Verizon's trying to make their money just like everyone else. So I wish that those bloatware applications were off of there. This phone has 8 gigabytes of internal memory. However, there's only 2.5 gigabytes of internal memory that's actually usable to the end user, which is more of a little bit of a gripe as well. If you're going to be advertising 8 gigabytes of internal memory, I expect to see somewhat around 8 gigabytes, not 2.5. And maybe it's because of the bloatware, but then again, that's like 5.5 gigabytes of space that's being wasted on something. I have no idea. Another application that doesn't come on here is a task manager like Killer. I use Advanced Task Killer, I think it's called. Every time I turn off the screen, basically I have it set up so then that way it kills off any applications that I don't want running. So then that way battery life actually lasts a little bit longer. There's also a 32 gigabyte card that comes with the phone pre-installed. It's a micro SD card. Very, very nice. It's a lot of storage that you usually don't get on a phone like this, but I still haven't filled it up all the way, but it's really nice. However, I'd still like to get the combined 40 gigabytes. I understand that they were trying to advertise this with the like an iPhone killer type of thing, but then again, like 32 is still 32. Don't advertise 40 when it's not. Also, there's the speaker on the back. It's actually pretty loud if you're in a quiet environment, but if you try to use it and turn it up all the way in a somewhat noisy environment, you're gonna kind of want it to be even louder. I've noticed that, like, say if I'm taking a shower and I want to like turn on my music or listen to some type of radio blog or something like that, I just can't hear it. So it's a little unfortunate, but my last HTC phone, which is this Windows piece of crap, so it actually wasn't loud at all as well, and so I had to actually hack that thing to get a like a software upgrade to make it a little bit louder. So hopefully in time we'll be able to do that with this phone too. The speakerphone on it is typical speakerphone. You turn it up all the way and it distorts, but it's definitely usable and you can still hear it. Just don't turn it up all the way. Let's see what else. The keyboard on this thing is actually pretty decent. You have a landscape, and then you have a portrait mode. Here is landscape, if you can see it. Landscape. And then there's also, let's see if there's a portrait mode. So the only thing I have an issue with is when, I guess I type too fast or something like that, but I'm typing and a lot of the times a lot of the words don't come out correctly because like a keystroke isn't being registered. So then that way I have to backspace and rewrite the word. So it's a little frustrating just because you know you should be able to type pretty fast, but you can't. So you basically have to type a little bit slower, a little bit more cautiously, I guess you would say, to get the correct word. Also, another nuance is the predictive text. It usually predicts the wrong words, but then again, you know, if you've used the phone with predictive text, that usually always happens. It's not until the phone actually starts realizing what and how you type, like your typing style, is when they actually starts doing correctly the right predictive words. So quality on this thing is actually pretty good too. It's pretty normal, I guess. I don't actually use the phone too much to talk on, sadly. There's some applications that I use, such as Tickle, which is kind of like a walkie-talkie type of app that uses data instead of voice, which is really quick and easy since a lot of my conversations aren't that long on the phone. I guess I'm more of a person-to-person type. So also, I live here out in the Bay Area, and I have the 4G network pretty much everywhere that I go. So again, like I said, the 4G on this thing is super fast, very impressive. But there was some talk about the 3G, 4G switching back and forth, and if you switch to 3G, there's a program that you can download on the web. Basically, if you put it to 3G, it would give you better battery life. I actually put it down and locked it into force mode into 3G for a couple of days, and I wasn't really seeing a huge significant change in battery life. It actually just kind of seemed like it was actually sucking down the battery a little bit faster. But then I changed it back to 4G, and surprisingly, the battery lasts a little bit longer. So maybe it's just I wasn't using the phone as much. I don't know, but it just seems like if it's on a 4G network, just leave it on a 4G network. If you know that you're in a 3G network, definitely just lock it down into a 3G. But I'm just assuming that when it's if you're on a cusp of 3G, 4G, it's constantly cycling to find a 4G network, and that's what's causing the battery to die quicker. So, so depending on where you live, you know, set it accordingly. If you're in a 4G, just leave it alone. If you're in a 3G, definitely lock it down into 3G. And then the most important thing is the battery life. Battery life on this thing, you can maybe get about 8 hours of usage with this thing, but you know, that's kind of stretching it. With normal usage, I can maybe get half a day. I definitely have to plug this thing up and charge it quite a bit. But I was reading about the HTC Evo, which is basically the same phone. Even that phone, which has a larger battery, doesn't get that great of battery life as well. I suggest, what I did, which I buy everything on eBay, like this case, is to buy additional batteries. I bought some cheapy batteries from China. I think it was like 3 of them plus a battery charger for I think like $18 or something like that. So it's a good investment considering that one standard battery is about $40, and I think the extended battery is either 50 or 60. So you know, I definitely need the battery juice since I'm always on this thing, and already I've only used it a little bit today, and it's already dying. It's already in the red. So definitely that if you need this thing to last all day, get some type of charger, get additional batteries, and or keep it in a dock or something like that, so then that way it's constantly charging. And then I think that's pretty much it. I definitely love the phone. I love being on Android. There's a lot of things that I do love about Google and how they're basically taking over their world. But it's just kind of nice to be able to sync this thing up with whatever's online. And one last other thing that I wanted to talk about was the DLNA technology that they have on this. I was actually really excited about it because you can do Wi-Fi streaming. This acts as a server, so whatever's on here, you can connect to another computer, and basically this is like a I guess like a thumb drive on your Wi-Fi connection. So if you have, like, say, a Samsung LCD TV, those usually have DNLA, and I think Vizio has them too, but a lot of the new manufactured TVs, they're coming out with that. So it's a nice way to get content from the phone to the actual TV without actually having to have a HDMI cable. So that's one nice feature of this, and also maybe that's why we don't see a physical HDMI actual output on this thing. So again, this review is for the HTC Thunderbolt on Verizon's 4G LTE network. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down in the comments below. If you also know of a program to use this front-facing camera, such as Fring, let me know also in the comments, and so then that way I can actually start using it for what I wanted it to do. So again, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.